Welcome to Inspired by Design, the podcast where we explore the tools, stories, and insights to help you rediscover your authentic self and navigate life with less resistance. I'm Katie Rupert, a former hustle and grind overachiever on a thrilling and messy journey. I'd love to share what I'm learning and help others in self-discovery using human design. So, if you're seeking a way to move forward, let me be your weekly mindset coach and share stories to inspire you to action towards your unique purpose without the force or burnout. Hello, I'm so excited about today. It's a little impromptu, but we have 1 week left of my giveaway for you to get entries in for it. I'm going to be offering up a connection chart reading it's for 2 people. This can be a husband and a wife. It could be a kid and a parent. It could be a work partnership. It could be anybody that you're interested in learning more about your compatibility, your connection, your potential struggles, if you're seeing eye to eye on certain things. And I thought it would be really fun today to give you a little example of what I look for in those charts. Now, just like anything else with your readings, you don't have to know the ins and outs of human design unless you want to be a human design chart reader like me. But you can use the information in your chart in a practical way. And I am excited. I just picked 4 couples just randomly, and I'm going to break it down and I hid the names from myself and all that so that I could just look at the charts. And so you can get a little taste of things that I might share with you. And what's cool is when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it the day it comes out or the day after, you may be able to still come and get a really great impromptu connection chart reading for yourself. I'm going to be at the Chakra Healing Room in Winsville, Missouri from noon to 4:30 on Saturday, February 7th, which is my daughter's birthday. Yay. Happy birthday, Emma. And if you stop by there, I'm doing $33 mini readings. It's live and in person. It's a special just for coming to the table and signing up. First come, first serve. Or you can get a couples chart reading or friendship chart reading compatibility. And that's for 2 people for just $56. So you're getting quite a bit off for those. They're quick readings, and I don't have really time to study, but I can tell you the energy of them. That's what I'm going to be doing today on our podcast. So we'll see how this goes, what you think. I really do want to know what you think about this. And if you like this type of podcast, I could do more things like this. And if you are interested, use that Google form to ask questions, and maybe there'll be something that pops up for this. So, all right, first one up. Now, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm sharing my screen, but it's not really important that you see them. But what you're going to see is on one side is the first person, on the opposite side, the second person. In the center is the charts and their energies, their gifting, their types laid over each other. And so we all have these 9 energy centers, and we have a configuration that was based on our time of birth is where it comes from. And whenever you walk into a room, wherever you have color in those 9 shapes and the lines, whenever you have color, that means that is an energy that you transmit, you give off. So that's part of your aura, part of your field, part of your gifting, and it's special and unique to you. Where you have white space is where you receive energy. That's when that energy comes in. It's not you. We call it not self and human design. When that comes into your field, you notice it because it's amplified as if it was a radio dial that's turned all the way up to 10. All right. So we notice things that are not us quite loudly. And we may not even realize what we're putting off energetically as well. So when I lay these 2 charts and I see I have on one side an emotional manifesting generator, on the other side a splenic projector. So already that tells me something. And so without even needing to look, if I know, let's say these 2 are a married couple, I know that an emotional manifesting generator and a splenic projector, there's going to be certain things that you want to know. Emotional authorities, they need time to make decisions. So this emotional manifesting generator is going to need to get like a gut reaction and be like, yes, that feels right. That feels good. That's a full-bodied, oh yeah, I like that. Or I want to do that. Or I want to go to there, whatever it is. I want to wear that shirt. And then that person's going to need to
sit with decisions that are not in the moment. So let's say this person's thinking about a vacation for them as a couple. All right. The emotional manifesting generator is going to look at the list of options for them to travel to, get a few, ooh, that one sounds exciting. And then they need to decide, okay, this one sounds really exciting. I think this is the one. I want to go here. And then they're going to need to look at the options of when, right? Like, oh, okay, is it going to be March, April, or May? And they're going to say, well, I think May sounds right because that means this, and have their guess at what feels right. And then they're going to need to sit on that decision and wait for clarity, because there's no clarity in the now for this person. There's a lot going on. Variety is key. Most likely this person's going to have a lot of interest, a lot of things that get them excited. And so they need to sleep on this decision, because an emotional generator doesn't want to commit to something like a vacation in the future until they've had some time to think about it and get clarity and kind of get a little more depth and thoroughness about this decision. They need to count the cost, if you will. And so that person is going to see over the next few days, is that location, is that timing, does that feel right? Now, being married to a splenic projector, same scenario. They're looking to go on a vacation, for example. A projector is someone who really needs to be efficient and improve things. A lot of options might be a little overwhelming for them. And so splenic authority is all about instinctively knowing, like, that's the right thing. My body says go to there. That's safe. That feels secure, or that timing feels safe and secure. And so a splenic projector working with a manifesting generator to come up with a vacation spot, it might be pretty interesting. But what could work really well is let this manifesting generator look at all the options and the big buffet of what's out there. Let them do the internet searches. Let them narrow it down to the things that get them excited. And then sleep on it and be like, okay, I think I want to do this place. And if that one doesn't work, I kind of got excited about this spot as well. All right. I want to go to the Bahamas, or I want to go to Hawaii. All right. And because the splenic projector only has so much energy, that manifesting generator could be like, these are the two options that I'm really excited about. And here's what I'm thinking for timing. Would you like to take a look at these two vacation packages and let me know what you think? All right. So what that does is it puts the manifesting generator in their shining spot. They can do a lot, get excited about a lot of things, and their energy expands by doing that. And then taking it to the projector, who it would be a complete drain and waste of energy for them to come up with ideas, because they're really meant to improve on ideas and to make things efficient. And as a splenic projector, make sure they're safe and secure and they're well thought out and planned. So this projector now has been invited to be like, will you look at these two vacation packages? I've already come up with all of the ideas. I've narrowed them down to these two that I'm excited about. That's perfect for a projector, because if they're invited and they're like, yeah, I want to go on vacation with you, of course I'll look at these two packages. And they look at the two, it's already been narrowed down. And now they can really read the details, and maybe they'll see, oh, wait a minute, I just heard something about the Bahamas, and they are like, it doesn't feel like that's the right choice for us for whatever reason. Maybe, I don't know, something's going on with the borders or something. They're like, maybe we stay stateside for this time that you've picked. And so instinctively, they're like, let me look into that. I think it's Hawaii. And then they really look into the Hawaii package and like, oh, we could do this. And then that feels, maybe we adjust the dates by this or that. Anyway, so I'm kind of getting into the weeds now, but the whole point of working for a plan with a manifesting generator who has the most energy on the chart, and a projector who only has so much and they need to preserve their energy, when they work together on a vacation in this scenario, it makes most sense. And what I would suggest to them as a couple is let the manifesting generator get the brainstorming out and ideas and leave the projector out of that, and then go invite them once they've narrowed it down to what lights them up. That's going to save the projector energy, and the manifesting generator doesn't have to do all the detail work that the projector is going to naturally be good at. So you could see where that would work really well in marriage. But also, if these two were business partners, same kind of thing. A manifesting generator is a master at coming up with every idea under the sun. You're like, oh my gosh, you're exhausting me because you have so many ideas. I can't even keep up with you. And then a projector in that meeting, for example, would be just totally drained. It's like, oh my God, how many more ideas? I can't refine every one of these ideas. Just give me one thing to work on. So you let the manifesting generator get all the brainstorming out, get the outline of what you're wanting to work on, and then go to the projector and be like, hey, will you read through this and tell me what works and what doesn't? And that projector is going to get their red pen and just go to town. And it's their shining spot where they can cut the fat out and they can make things concise and make things make sense and put a system into it. So I'm also looking at this chart and I'm seeing every single one of these 9 energy centers are colored in. And so that means they make a 9 and 0 connection. 9 and 0. There's cute little sayings for all of the connections. If your chart has 9 centers colored in, when you lay them on top of each other, it's called 9 and 0, nowhere to go. And so there's a sense of completion with these two energies, these two people coming together. They have access to all the different 9 flavors of energy. And so what that could be, it could really feel good, but it could also feel intense at times. And the other thing that this puts off is when these two are in a place together, let's say they go to a party and they already have all the energy that they need together. And so they're not really seeking or needing to amplify any other energy. And so there's a chance that people would feel like they're on the outside, like a third wheel, if they come over and talk to these two, this couple. So 9 and O's want to be intentional if they're at a party or in a group setting, not to just hone in on the two of them and make it feel like they're the only two in existence, right? Like these are the two, if they were teenagers, that you'd be like, oh my God, go get a room. Why did you even come if you're just going to hang out with each other? Like mingle already, right? So you have to be intentional about that. All right, I'm going to move to the next one just for a different flavor. So this next one is, let's see, it was another manifesting generator. Let's do manifesting generators and a generator. Okay, these are interesting. Okay, let's see. So generators automatically, if I see that there's 2 generators, whether it's manifesting generator or not, generators in compatibility, they can lean on each other to ask close-ended questions, because generators in general, their strategy, whether they're manifesting or not, generators need to respond to life with a full-bodied yes, whether they're emotional or non-emotional. So these two are both sacral generators at the core. So what that means is they are go with your gut people, both of them. And when their charts come together, they stay that way. So they don't fill in the emotional center. So these two generators right away, very compatible, but the way you be compatible in the fact that they need to move towards what they want. They need to be, quote unquote, selfish with what interests them, because that's going to give them energy. So if these two were dating, then I would say right away, like, make sure that you're doing things that you both think are fun. Ask each other close-ended questions. So give each other options. So instead of being like, hey, babe, where do you want to go to eat? These two would need to have like a list that they could respond to, a big menu of options, and prompt themselves. And truly, like, this is simple advice. I'd say, okay, whenever one of you asks, what do you want to eat? You need to be like, oh, time out. That's an open-ended question. Let's go to our list, right? Like, do you want to go to Mexican or Italian? And then both of you have a chance to respond to that. Does my body say yes to either one of those? And you do that until one of you get that response. And that's probably my number one key for these two. The other thing I noticed, these two make a 7 and 2 connection. So of the 9 energy centers, 2 of them are still white whenever they're laid on top of each other, the head center and the emotional solar plexus. wherever the white space stays in a connection, be it any kind of connection, whether it's romantic, business, parent kid, the white space is where there's going to be a black hole. There's no energy there. Neither one of you experience that energy on a consistent basis. And when you're together, you don't create it. So what you want to watch out for is, in this case, it's likely that the two of you are not going to see eye to eye on what inspires you. So one person might get really inspired by, I don't know. So I'll use personality, for example. One of these people have a 5 in their personality. So a 5 is someone who's likely going to be inspired by things outside of them. Things like world peace or making the world a better place, helping others, I don't know, find their calling in life and help, like really others focused. Okay, that inspires them. Oh, that person helps this other person. That's so amazing. Or this person built a system that, ended world hunger. Maybe a bad example because I feel like everyone would be excited about that, but I am a 5 too. So maybe I'm wrong, but someone that just really gets inspired by helping other people or big social change, for example. And the person that has like this, the other person is a 1 and a 3. So 1, 3 is a very common personality profile. It's very individualistic. So they might get inspired by an idea that helps them make their life more efficient, or they might get inspired. Let's say they're really into cars, and they find an article about their favorite kind of car, and then they read a book about it and they're like, oh my God, this is so inspiring. I didn't know there was so much information out here about this car. And while there's nothing, like there's neither one is good or bad as far as what is inspiring to you, like that, what inspires you is what inspires you. It's great. But likely one person is going to be inspired by something that's very personal and internal for them. And one's going to be inspired mostly by things that are external from them. And so with the head center open, there might be a little overthinking about this. A black hole in their relationship could be like, why are you inspired by that? Like, come on. Like the 5 might be like, you really should expand your worldview. And then the other person might say like, well, I don't see why that inspires you. That just makes me feel stressed because no one can make world peace. Like it's a losing battle, and it just really deflates me. And both are correct because that's what's true for them. And so they wouldn't want to focus their business partnership or their romantic relationship on things that inspire them because it's different. It's a little hole, and there's nothing wrong with that. They just want to find their inspiration outside of that relationship and focus on the 7 areas that are lit up in their chart, like communication and having a vision for their life, feeling safe and secure and building a foundation for that, doing what they love and what they like, and handling pressure as a team, or validating each other and their self-worth. Like those are the things that I just mentioned. Those are the 7 areas that they do want to focus on. We tend to focus on the whole, the other one is it's a big one. I've had this experience a lot in my personal life with connections because I'm a non-emotional. I don't have any lines going to my solar plexus. And so when I match with someone, again, any kind of partnership, a lot of times this solar plexus is undefined for our connection. And so what that means is I don't want to look to that relationship, or in this case, these people don't want to look to the relationship for their soul emotional safety, because neither one of them have a true gifted depth and thoroughness when it comes to emotional safety and depth. They're more gut people. They're more, let's do it because it feels good. And that's not wrong. It's just something to be aware of. There's nothing that a chart says that I would see and say, like, you're doomed to a bad relationship. But what I would say is just be really, really aware whenever you're starting to blame this person for not making you feel safe when you were sad. You want to have coping mechanisms or a therapist or a trusted like girlfriend, for example. For in my case, a lot of times that's what it comes up. It's like I need to have a trusted girlfriend that can emotionally hold space for me if this other connection isn't doing that in whatever circumstance there is. Now, 7 and 2, their little saying is called work to do. So it means there's going to be a couple of areas that you want to really focus on, always going back to where you are strong and not focusing on the weakness. So that, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if there are questions for that one. And let's do one, maybe one more. Okay, this is a good example. So let's do parent and kids because I've talked mostly about business and romantic. So let's talk about parent and kids. So let's say, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we've got an emotional generator. So someone that needs to do what they love because their body says, heck yes. And then whenever it comes to, my example earlier was a vacation, whenever it comes to something that's going to take your energy later on, maybe for this example, let's use like, I don't know, a job opportunity. This person's going to need to sleep on it. They need to wait until clarity comes with something that they're being drawn to. That's how their energy works. The other person's a manifestor and a splenic manifestor. So they are meant to wait for an urge or a spark of an idea and trailblaze towards it when it comes, but not before. They need to be resting in the meantime. They don't have the sacral center access. And so that means they're going to need naps. They're going to need to go away from other people's energy. They need to take time and work in spurts, not a marathon kind of thing. And wait. They really have to wait. And then whenever they feel the urge or the initiation, a spark of inspiration, for example, they need to move towards it so fast, quickly, and tell people like, hey, I'm working on this new project. I'm starting a new job. See ya. And they also, this manifestor being splenic, it's a instinct. Like, I just know this is right. I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm just going to let you know I'm starting the business. And it needs to be like that. And so let's say that this is a parent kid. Let's say the parent is the emotional generator who they are always feeling things out in their body like, oh, this feels right. Just go with what lights you up. And maybe they're giving that advice to their splenic manifestor child. Hey, just do what feels good. Make sure, well, sleep on this. If you want to do that new club, why don't you just think about it a little bit longer and we'll maybe try it next semester. So the manifestor then is going to think, oh, well, my parent wants me to sleep on it. My parent wants me to go with what lights me up. But actually, for a manifestor, if they have the interest, let's say it is a club. Oh my gosh, mom, I really want to be part of the debate club. I got so excited about it and I have this idea and I know what I want to write and I know what I want to talk about and I'm going to nail it. And state is only 3 weeks away, but I think I can do it. And mom's like, oh my gosh, like that's too fast. How do you know, or whatever. But what's right for the manifestor, and if the mom knew that they are working with a manifestor and this manifestor got excited and they're energetic and they have this laser focused thing and the kid goes, I want to do this, the parent having the information that they have a kid that's a manifestor would make all the difference, because they would know, okay, all right, I'm behind you. Like that's not how I would do it. And that's good to not like push that on your kid. As a manifestor, you have to let them have that freedom to follow an urge, because that is how they are designed. So think about all of this scenario has to come up so often where manifestors just feel like they shouldn't, or that they get fear and they think they can't go forward on an idea because they're not supposed to, or it's too fast. And they learn that. And then in adulthood, when they could move forward on an urge, they don't know how, because they didn't have the support to do it. So when I see like this connection makes a 9 and 0. So one thing that is amazing for the manifestor kid, like, again, there's no good or bad. you're always going to create conditioning or things that are harder when you come together, especially as a parent and a kid. But what's amazing and the gifting of the parent to manifestor is this manifestor gets to feel what it's like to have, like, they have six energy centers that are white. And so when they're with this parent, they get to experience what it's like and taste what it's like to have, say, the solar plexus and the sacral and the other energy centers. They get to use and borrow that energy and kind of get used to it. But it's never going to be them. If this were my kid or connection, I think this one to me is, I'm really passionate about it. I mean, all of them are really important. Can you tell I'm thinking on my feet? But like, I have a son who's a projector, a non-energy type, and I have the highest energy. So it was so helpful for me just to know that I need to be inviting him into spaces, and I need to be very just aware that my energy is foreign to him and it's going to make him uncomfortable. And that's how he's designed to be. And his gifting is inside of there. It's not wrong that he'd be uncomfortable when I'm all excited and ready to go do 4,000 things, and that exhausts him. Well, I, as the parent, can be respectful of that, invite or allow him to spend more time alone, or any number of things, just making sure I don't overwhelm his aura. Like at the dinner table, right? I could ask questions. I would love to hear about your day. Would you like to tell me about it? Nah, it was fine. And then for me to bite my tongue and just give him space. Now, as a mom of a projector, I've learned I can, if he says that, I'll say, okay, well, maybe think a little harder. Give me one thing whenever you're ready. And then we move on to the other conversation. I can come back later and say, what was the thing that you came up with? And for him, I can ask those open-ended questions and he can share whatever he wants. But if I force, there's like bitterness or anger that might come up. And for the manifestor is very similar. Anger is the signature sign of, hey, I'm out of alignment. So if you have a kid that's a manifestor and they're angry, you might be able to meet them where they are and support them in finding their peace again. So anyway, that's a little tidbit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Sometimes it's interesting to know those little sayings. If you make an 8 and 1, they say, have some fun. If it's a 5 and 4, relationship no more. If it's a 6 and 3, better to be free. That one's really interesting. I notice a lot of my business partnerships end up being 6 and 3. And I love that because 6 and 3, oh, here's one. Here's a better to be free. It's a generator and a projector. So if they're better to be free, that doesn't mean like you don't have a relationship. It means you guys need your space and you need to consider having your own things to do and love outside of the relationship to make the relationship thrive. So it's none of the connections are doomed. But if you know a few of these just key things, just small little key things, you can really work with them. And it always comes down to the foundational stuff. The type, like where your energy is, how your energy works. Are you someone that needs to go with their gut, with the authority being like, I need to feel safe. I need to sleep on it and feel clear. I need to feel it's a heck yes, or it's a no for now. Whatever it is, being able to just acknowledge that the other person's different, or maybe they're the same and you can work with that too, like the example of the 2 generators that were married. So I think it's very insightful. There's a lot more depth that you can go in. I didn't really get to talk about electromagnetic channels. That's like where you synergistically come together and like thrive together. The more electromagnetic channels, the more magnetic you are towards each other. There's companionship channels that you can point out. That's like friendship. You guys share the same energy, gifting. And so that one's really fun to have. My best friend, we share 2 of those friendship channels, and it's very rare to see. So like I just get her on a different level than most people get her and vice versa, right? Like, oh, I totally get that. And dominance channels are also a thing that it shows me. And dominance is all about like the energy that you have, and you're the only one that has that in the relationship. And these are places where you could intellectually study the energy that they have and show up for them in that way. So for example, let's say like this one that I'm looking at has a dominance channel of judgment. So the person that doesn't have the judgment gift would be enlightened to know that, hey, when someone has the gift of judgment, they can walk into a room and immediately see what's wrong, and they're always right about it. Now, that would, for me, when I see that, and I don't have any of the judgment stuff, I would say, if my ears would perk up if they started talking about like, oh, this place needs to be rearranged, and whatever it is, whether it's an opportunity, a job, an actual room, whatever, I would be like, oh, well, tell me more about that. Why do you think that? Where did you like, what would be better? I would be so curious knowing it. So like, let's say this is a business partner of mine. Let's say that like this one that I'm looking at is a business partner of mine. If I know they have this channel of judgment, every time they have a judgment and it kind of catches me off guard, like, oh, that's stupid, it shouldn't be like this, like however they say it, I would be like, oh, my ears would perk up, like, okay, tell me more about that. What do you mean? I would just get really, really curious because I don't have that gift. And so they're bringing that gift into the relationship. Those are really fun. I could talk about that all day. And then the final area that I go over like in a full connection chart reading would be the compromise channels. And compromise channels means that you guys share part of it, but one of you has the full channel. And a channel is just where two energies come together. They are synergistic. They make a gift or a special talent. So like in this case, I'm seeing here, one person has perfected form, which is just about like kind of knowing where things go. And that's so generalized, but let's just go with it. Where things goes, you kind of know the style of what it needs to be. I don't know, let's go with the room example, like how it needs to be decorated, for example. And the other person has part of that perfected form gift. And so the person that has part of it is going to think they fully understand the gift, and that's where you're most prone to fight. Like, no, the room needs to have this, it needs to be organized this way, it needs to be this color. And the compromise channel will always say, the person with the one that has both sides of the perfected form channel, they win, and the other person's just going to have to compromise because this other person has a perspective one of them only has half of, even if it doesn't feel that way. And so a lot of times the tension in the relationships there, and just knowing that is really, really helpful. And it's really cool whenever you each have one and they're like, I get dominance here, I get dominance here. So I get excited about this. I love it. I'm going to be doing 15-minute connection chart readings for the chakra healing room tomorrow. If you're listening to this and it's after that time, you can go to my website and get a connection chart reading for you and someone that this information will be helpful to know with. And I also am doing a giveaway. So if you have missed a boat and you're listening to this before Valentine's Day 2026, that is my 1-year anniversary giveaway. And the ways you can get entered are to share. You can share this episode. You can leave a review. You do have to let me know that you leave it because I don't get notifications right away. So I want to make sure to get you entered. You can share the podcast. You can do a review. You can book your reading. You can come see me at the Chakra Healing Room. If you stop by my table, I'm doing entries just for stopping by and saying, hey. And I'm really excited to see who wins it. If you're not interested in a connection chart reading and you win, then you could also pick a foundational reading instead. That's totally fine. All right. Well, if this brought up any questions, I want you to use the Google form to ask, because if you like this style of episode, kind of breaking down different types of readings or different elements of the chart, I would love to do that more. I love talking about it. And I appreciate you listening today. Thanks again for being part of Inspired by Design. You guys are in my heart. I can't thank you enough. So thank you again, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your takeaways, subscribe, or even leave a review to help others find the show. For more tools and insights, visit my free Facebook group. And until next time, keep embracing exactly who you are and move forward one inspired action at a time.